Tyler Peterson is our next Lion legend from Louisville, Mississippi. He played football at North Alabama from 1997 to 2000. He finished his career as the school's all-time leading passer and leader for total offense. His 1,924 rushing yards rank as the second most for a quarterback, and he's also the last UNA player to rush for over 200 yards in a game. An All-Gold South Conference pick in 1999, a four-year starter with 37 career starts at quarterback at UNA. Tyler Peterson, thanks for joining us as our next Lion legend.
Hey, thanks so much, Benjamin. Proud to be here.
25 and 18 in your 4 years at North Alabama. We're going to talk about some of the great memories from your playing careers, including where your coaching career is taking you now. But first off, the University of North Alabama, your time playing football here in Florence, just how special is it as we get ready to reflect back?
Well, no question about it. Really didn't know anything about the school. The first time my family and I came over, just fell in love with Florence. Didn't take long to be taken in as family by the UNA family, and met a lot of friends and teammates over there that will last a lifetime. And the Lion Legend deal has been fun for me, just kind of reminiscing and watching and seeing some of those, because it's been quite a few years, and you forget some of those stories till you see Johnny Long on there and some of those guys. So it's been really special to be a part of that with you guys. Appreciate you doing that, and certainly appreciate you having me on here.
We're excited to talk with you. First thing, give us an update on where life has taken you. And I know UNA fans will love to know about your family.
Well, I think this is my 6th year at Brandon High School as a head football coach, just outside of Jackson. I guess this is probably my 13th year coaching in high school. We currently have have 3 children, 2 boys that are 9 and 8, and a little girl that's 6. So life is busy for us, but in a fun way.
All right, let's jump into it. Let's go back to your high school playing days, Friday Night Lights. You won a state championship at Lewis High School. What were some of those memories? And how did you go from Lewis High School to North Alabama?
Louisville is just a place where football means a lot. It's Friday nights. Everybody in town is going to be there. A tradition-rich program. You're expected to compete for state championships, and I think we got beat in the North half 2 years, and we're fortunate enough to win it my junior year. So I think that was the 5th one. Since then, they've won. I think they're up to 9. So it's a special place. A lot of great coaches and players have come through there. So I always felt like I was fortunate and had a leg up to be in a program that football meant so much to not only the program, but the city and the community as well. And, just to have had a chance to play in that and learn from some of the great coaches that have been through there, I think that's been a big part of my career, and has helped push me maybe a little bit ahead, but just blessed to be a part of it.
What was the recruitment journey to North Alabama like?
A little bit up and down. I was probably a marginal player. I had some Division I, AA interest, and, just some things fell late in the recruiting process, and, didn't really know what was going to happen. It kind of came down between Delta State and North Alabama. Be honest with you, I had my mind up going to Delta State, and then one Wednesday night, I come home from church, and Coach Wallace and Coach Monica are sitting on the couch with my dad, and they kind of talked us into coming over on a visit. And of course, once you got there and saw everything and, heard the tradition, that was an easy sell.
So you come to North Alabama just 1 year removed from the national championship run. You've got Bobby Wallace as the head coach, Willie Slater, offensive coordinator, tons of great people around the program. Did you feel some pressure when you arrived on campus, given the championship background?
I didn't, because I was tied for 4th out of 7 quarterbacks on the first day. So, the 4th-string quarterback doesn't get a lot of reps. In fact, doesn't get any. And so, I had to pay my dues, and we had some good players in front of us. And, our recruiting class that year was a really big one, because they went from winning 3 in a row to, I don't even think they made the playoffs that following year. So we had a lot of freshmen, a lot of junior college guys as part of that class. But no, like I said, early on, I was kind of afterthought, but after a little bit of time, kind of worked my way up and had a chance to get in the lineup. But just a bright-eyed, wide-eyed freshman there starting off.
Willie Slater was your offensive coordinator. He's won 5 national championships throughout his career as you look at him. But Coach Slater, what was your experience like playing under him?
Oh, first of all, a great man. Can't say enough good things about him. A heck of a ball coach. Knows offense inside and out. A little bit of a tough personality. I tell people he's never one that would say a cuss word to you, but some of the looks that he would give you, you felt like you had been cussed a little bit. But he was hard, but man, always fair. Treated everybody the same. Demanded a lot out of you, which as a competitor, you want your coach to be that way, and he wasn't going to be satisfied with anything less than your best. So fortunate to play for him, learned a heck of a lot from him. I think he made me a tougher person and a tougher football player, and also a better person.
Let's jump into the early portions of that season. You had a big breakout game against Southwestern Louisiana. We'll get to that in just a second. But early on, you played in 3 games, 7 total carries, 2 pass completions. Those first collegiate experience games, what are some of your takeaways and memories?
I remember, I guess, the Arkansas Tech game, because I threw my first touchdown and I ran my first touchdown. And I think both of them got called back for a penalty. We won the game pretty handily, and I came in some mop-up duty. And then I believe after that we played Valdosta, and I got in and actually got knocked out. Called a quick game pass, and I tried to scramble around, and a guy popped me pretty good, bent my face mask, cut my nose, cut my lips. So, got introduced to college football pretty quickly right there.
So this week, North Alabama is getting set to take on Liberty, an FBS game for UNA, the first at the Division I level. But you had a lot of experience in UNA's first ever win over an FBS program. Back in '97, UNA beat Southwestern Louisiana, now Louisiana Lafayette, 48-42 in 4 overtimes. We want to jump into that ball game with you. But first off, what do you remember about leading up to that game and some of the preparation, especially since, as you mentioned, you were sort of a backup quarterback at that point?
Well, I think we were a team that was kind of starting to come together, with so many new players and had some really talented players. We really didn't know quite yet what we had or who we were. I think we were 2-1 at the time. Had just gotten shut out by Valdosta. The first time to be shut out in a number of years. So, I think you had a team that the week before we may have set the single game total offense record against Arkansas Tech. So you had some ups and downs. And, I think the Southwest Louisiana game was just kind of seeing that group come together and, everybody kind of feel their place and start to learn each other and I guess trust each other and just probably the gelling of a team. We had some, unbelievably talented players, but you also, you throw a lot of first year players in there, whether they be JUCO transfers or high school, graduates. There's a little bit of a feeling out process. And, I guess that was kind of a breakout party of everything coming together at the right time. And, to this day, the most exciting game I've ever been a part of, and the only game I've ever cramped on the plane on the way home. It hit me pretty good, but after 4 overtimes, that's just almost an unheard of ball game. But I just remember guys playing super hard. We never doubted it, never doubted each other, and just a unbelievable experience.
Longest game in school history. Let's dive into it. You guys trailed 18-7. At the half. And that's when you got your number called in the second half in overtime. You led UNA on 7 touchdown drives. You finished with 140 rushing yards, 84 yards passing, 5 total touchdowns, 4 coming on the ground. Just what are some of your memories from some of those big moments?
Well, you just remember taking a snap on a couple of them. And I think we ran the midline on one long touchdown pass and ended up pulling it. And gosh, just seeing daylight and trying to run as fast as you can to get there, and guys up front blocking really hard. I joked I had it really easy at quarterback. We had a lot of senior offensive linemen and, my center would call out what defense it was. My guard would tell me what to check to. My tackle would make blocking calls. So, they made it easy for a freshman to jump in there and have an opportunity. And, just being surrounded by a bunch of veteran guys, it was a really easy situation to be put in. And, thankfully I just did my part to help our team, be successful that night. And, football is the ultimate team sport. And, a lot of times quarterback gets too much credit and probably too much of the blame too. But, man, a lot of guys around doing their job at night, and just a lot of fun.
So you mentioned earlier your first touchdown run, your first touchdown pass were both called back due to penalty. In this game, you finally got those first. A 61-yard touchdown run, your first career touchdown run. Your first career touchdown pass, a 33-yarder to Justin at Sappington. That gave UNA the lead in the fourth quarter. So you remember the ones that got canceled. Do you remember the ones that actually counted?
Oh, of course, you do. I can't remember every single one. You remember one or two. The ones a lot of times as an athlete, the ones you remember are the ones that got away, or maybe the ones that came up short and you didn't get. But, just remember Sapp was my college roommate, and I remember on my long touchdown run, he was also the pitch man, and he was yelling, "Pitch it, pitch it, pitch it." But, I had daylight and was a little bit faster than him, so I decided to hold the ball. But, I just remember, I guess that game, you remember a couple of those plays, but you just remember how excited the sideline was, how excited your team was, and just, when everything comes together and a group plays hard the way that group did, it's a special night.
Take us into overtime, the stress, the thrill, finally coming away with the win. Just what was all of those moments like?
I think we were probably too young and naive to be stressed. You're probably in a situation where nobody really expects you to win that game. Being a Division II team, playing a Division I team, I think we had 36 scholarships where they had 72 or whatever. So, I tell you, we really didn't feel the pressure. They had a student section right there behind the bench, and they did a heck of a job of harassing us all night long. But by the end of the game, we had earned their respect. They were congratulating us afterwards. But, I think both sides of the ball, offense and defense, came together, and every time one was coming off the field, you were picking each other up, saying, "Hey, let's go do this." So, I really don't remember being nervous in that game, just for that fact, because you felt like everybody was working together and on the same page, and you just felt like you could get it done.
You guys rolled out 5 straight wins to close out the season and make the playoffs at that point. So that big win, how much did it spark you guys moving forward?
Oh, no question about it. To go in that kind of environment and play a team like that, and to perform the way you did, just no question about it. I think it helped spark our season. It helped get us on a roll, and we played really well down the stretch. Unfortunately came up against a tough Carson Newman team, had to go up there and play, which UNA and Carson Newman's had a lot of battles over the year. But, just to go from probably an unknown team with so many newcomers to, winning 5 straight in that fashion, it says a lot about our coaching staff, about our guys. And we worked really hard, and it was a fun to be a part of.
Now North Alabama's Division I FCS getting set to take on FBS Liberty. Former player that's been a part of the Lion legacy, getting the program to this point. It is exciting seeing the program taking off like this.
Well, no question about it. I thank the leaders at North Alabama for being forward thinking. You see a lot of the older rivals, the Jacksonville States and the Troys and some of those that have moved up. It's great to see UNA growing and taking that jump to the higher level. I think it's a natural fit to follow along some of those. So, the town of Florence is such a great place. The facilities have improved, so I'm proud to see that, competing at the highest level and giving our student athletes that opportunity. So, I think very, very well deserved.
So you're heading into the playoffs. You've taken over the starting job, really sparked off the win over Southwestern Louisiana. But how much was the offense clicking for you and your confidence level growing as you approach the playoffs?
You know, it was. We had senior offensive linemen like Brad Pierce. We had you know, I think early on our entire backfield was newcomers. You had Greg Manson, was a junior college tailback from Hines. You had Steve Hayden, that was a fullback. You had Bobby Collins, was a tight end. James Moore was a freshman with me that got a lot of playing time at the wide receiver. So, you know, anytime your offensive line is a group of veteran guys, it solidifies your group. And you know, I think they were the core of our offense at that point, just the rock and the steadiness of it. And, you know, it allowed some of us in the backfield to obviously be successful and follow suit of that. But, you know, every week you just felt a little better. You felt a little more comfortable. You know, you knew what everybody's talents were. You know, everybody kind of played off of each other. You know, you get the timing down with your receivers and your tight end. And you know, like I said, Coach Slater is such a offensive mind and did a good job of putting us in position to be successful, you know, never asking us to do something that we couldn't do. And, you know, it was, like I said, every week you just felt like you kept growing.
So when you look at your freshman year, you come to campus, not sure if you'll play much as a freshman, fourth on the depth chart, get the opportunity, get the starting job. Now you're in the playoffs. First time UNA's in the playoffs since '95. Unfortunately, you guys lose to Carson Newman 21-7. You probably didn't think much of it then, but now that freshman season, everything that you accomplished, making the playoffs, what's it like reflecting back?
Well, you know, you're proud that you helped get the program back on a winning note. You know, I know they had a tough year the year before, but just to get back, you know, after you don't have to be around town long to realize the tradition that is all over the place. There's a lot of proud Lion fans and alumni, and you know, so it's another one of those tradition-rich places where you're expected to compete at a high level. And you know, fortunate for us that year, we were able to do that, you know, and had a lot of new pieces, but settled in really quickly. So, you know, just chance to get a play for Coach Wallace and some of those guys at that program, man, just a special deal. And you certainly wanted to do your part to make sure that you carried it on.
Bobby Wallace left after your freshman year, just 1 year under the legendary coach at UNA, but what was the impact he had on you?
You know, probably the in my mind, the best coach that I ever played for, you know, and not necessarily X's and O's, but just the way he went out of his way to make you feel like you were, you know, anytime he saw you, he was going to come shake your hand, speak to you. You know, he just made you always feel at home. He made you feel like you played for one of the elite programs in the country. You know, he always treated everything so professionally, and you know, his players were important to him. You know, that's something that I specifically remember. And he's just a guy that you didn't want to let down. You know, you'd follow him onto the field anywhere and play anybody. And, you know, just felt it was really fortunate to have a chance to be under him. You know, he's got some lines to this day that I still say, you know, to our team, and just thought he was a unbelievable leader. You know, obviously his track record speaks volumes about the kind of man he is, the kind of coach he is, and just learned a heck of a lot from him.
Can you share some of those lines with us?
Well, you know, the one that really stands out in my mind, right before we'd go out to a game, he'd say, guys, if you go mess up, that's not your fault. He said, you know, that's our fault as coaches. We should have taught you better. The only mistakes that you can make are not playing hard or getting a stupid penalty, you know, and as a player, you really don't think that way. But when you get to the coaching side and you're trying to figure out why this kid's not doing this, and you go back and you realize that you probably didn't do as, you know, some things you need to cover a little better. But, you know, he was always a guy that he was going to take the blame. He was going to give the credit, you know, and he was just that kind of guy, that kind of coach.
Let's jump into your sophomore season. You guys went 8-2, really should have made the playoffs, narrowly missing out. I want to start out, though, a season-opening win over Carson Newman, the team that ended your freshman year in the playoffs. opening up in Rome, Georgia, neutral site game, a 27-24 win. Kevin Pierce kicked a 23-yard game-winning field goal with 31 seconds left. Take us back to that one, and I want to start off the game-winning field goal. Do you remember some extra noise coming from the stands, maybe the PA announcer?
Yeah, it was an exciting game. Obviously, to get the chance to play the team that put you out the year before, was a little fiery deal. So, I just remember being a fourth quarter game, and our guys playing hard and pulling it out. I remember Greg Manson having a really big football game. He was a native of Georgia, so to get a chance to go play in his home state was special for him. And like I said, just fortunate enough to pull that game out against a really good team.
Anything else stand out from that season?
Just the biggest thing, I think we beat Delta State that year. They ended up maybe winning the division. I think we lost to Southern Arkansas. The one that probably stings me the most to this day was the loss to West Georgia. I believe we lost by 7. We're down there on the 1-yard line as time's running out. It was actually, I remember it being like 3rd and 5, and we had a timeout. We called a pass. He said, if it's not there, throw it away. And I was trying to throw it away, and it got tipped, and Michael Bridgeforth dives and catches the ball on the 1-yard line. And it's right next to their student section, and everybody rushes up to the line. We're lined up wrong. We don't have timeout. Time's running out, and just not being in the formation that we needed to be in. And we came up, like I said, 1 yard shy of having a chance to go in overtime or win the game. And obviously that ended up costing us our season, with the shot at the playoffs. But, to be that close and to come up short, just that's one of those things you probably never get over, and that out of that season, that's probably the one play I remember, or 2 plays, and of course you never know at the time what, just like a football game, there's going to be 4 or 5 plays that determine the outcome of the game. And, the season's kind of that way too. And that was one that, stung us. But, had a lot of guys returning that year. Lost, obviously, some senior offensive linemen, but had a heck of a year. Wish you could have had a couple of plays back, but and played really well. To go 8-2 in that league is a tough thing to do, But some of those other teams, like I said, Delta State ended up beating the right teams. We got knocked off by a couple of the wrong ones, so it cost us in the long run.
Your junior year, let's jump to that. A record-breaking year for you, an all-Gold South Conference selection, 2,219 yards of total offense. That was a school record that would be held until Will Hall broke it a few years later. 1,604 yards through the air, 615 on the ground. The passing yards at the time were the second most in a single season at North Alabama. That record-breaking year offensively, what were some of the highlights?
I remember most about that year, that season, was just some of the guys we played with. Any stat or any touchdown or anything like that, when it shows up, there's normally one name on it, but gosh, there's 11 that helped them get there, or 10 that helped them get there. So, we had a team that was not selfish, really didn't care who got the credit, and every time you went out there, they were supportive. They were going to fight with you. That season wasn't as successful record-wise, but it wasn't for a lack of effort, and it wasn't for any problems on our team. We had a bunch of great guys that, man, loved to play, loved to compete, loved to get your back and help you and be behind you. And those are the things that I remember about that season.
Along that time, too, Cody Gross became your position coach, also the guy you replaced at quarterback. What was his impact like on you as a player?
Well, huge, just to get a chance to play under Cody. He was one that obviously when you come to the program, you learn pretty quickly who number 15 was. And just to look at his resume and the career that he had, I felt like a sponge. I just wanted to soak up anything that he could give me to help me be a better quarterback, a better person. And, man, just a great guy, great coach, Remember him just being a family-oriented man. He had his young kids around the program there that you got to see and just kind of learn. I remember probably learning I guess looking at it as the coaching side, seeing how to manage a family, how to manage your job at that level is really, really tough to do. But just, man, I always really respected Cody, an intense coach, demanded a lot from you. But again, as a competitor, that's what you wanted. And, just proud. He made me better. He made us better, and just proud again to have the opportunity to play under a guy like that.
You finished your career at North Alabama as the school's all-time leading passer and the record holder for total offense. At that time, so many greats have come through. Since then, you currently rank 7th in passing yards, 3rd in total offense. Your name's still all over the record books. Coming in as a freshman from Louisville, Mississippi, did you ever envision having that type of career?
You don't really think like that. You just try to get in and earn a spot and earn a job. I remember, I think that first week we had 4-a-days where you had 4 practices for like 4 days, and guys, 4 days seemed like 4 weeks. And I can remember, being thinking I was a pretty good high school quarterback, won a state championship, played in the Mississippi Alabama All-Star game. And then to come into a program and be the 4th string, there were some rough days early. I can remember calling home and getting my mom and saying, "Mom, I think I'm going to come home. I think I'm going to probably enroll in junior college." And she hung up on me. She said, "I'll call you when Dad gets home." But I remember my dad telling me, "Hey, you're going to be fine. Stick with it. You're going to break records. You're going to do good." So just, you don't think like that, but, all of us go through times where you need a little support or you may have a bad day. And I remember Coach Wallace calling me in the next day, because I'm sure Mom and Dad called him, and he said, "Tell me what's going on." And literally I said, "Coach, I'm good. Just had a bad day." I said, "I'm ready to go to work." So just family support, team support, to have coaches like Coach Wallace that always had an open door policy that, man, anytime you needed to sit down and talk or needed a pat on the back or a kick in the behind, we all are a product of our support system. And, to be a part of that and have those kind of people around you at home and at school really means a lot.
So after an outstanding playing career at North Alabama, you get into coaching. Did you always know coaching was the path you wanted to take?
I did. Always growing up, I thought so much of my high school coaches and just loved ball. My dad and his brothers grew up in construction and realized pretty quickly that I didn't want to go in construction. So it was several of us cousins that were always, whatever the season was, we were out playing ball, whether it be football, basketball, baseball. So my mom started out as a school teacher, and Dad had enough sense. They both tried to talk me out of it, growing up, that that wasn't what I wanted to do. But I think they finally gave up and knew that I was hard-headed. But that's always who I was. When we were in PE in elementary, I can remember the coaches laughing at me because I'd be the one getting everybody lined up, telling them where so-and-so was fixing to hit it to or kick it to, and was always the one kind of setting things up out there, or the one being the all-time quarterback or whatnot. So, it was only natural. And I felt like I had a master's in coaching just from getting the opportunity to play college football, to learn under some of those great guys. Had the good fortune of being a student assistant and a graduate assistant under Mark Hudspeth, when he came in, and there's a lot of things that you don't see from the coaching aspect as a player. You only see the time you put in, but now when you step on the other side, you realize how many hours are behind the scenes and what all goes into that. So, always felt like I probably had a leg up on people my age, just having those opportunities, to spend that time. And, the life of a GA, you're about to starve to death. It's not much glory, a lot of work hours for a very little pay, but man, got rewarded with a wealth of knowledge and information, that I think really made me a lot better coach. I think GA is probably something that everybody needs to do at one point of their life. And, just a rewarding situation that I'd never take back.
I guess there's some of those collegiate stops that you had. You mentioned your time at UNA. I know there's some other schools you were at, but I'll let you run through it.
I was a student assistant for a year after my playing career at North Alabama. Got a chance to go to UT Chattanooga, stayed there for a year as a restricted earnings coach. I came back to North Alabama as a graduate assistant. Went to the University of Arkansas Monticello for 2 seasons as an assistant coach. I think I moved 4 times in 5 years. And of course, I was single. You could throw all your stuff in the back of the truck and leave in the middle of the night if you had to. But, I'll be honest with you, I never felt completely comfortable at the college level. Again, growing up, all I ever wanted to be was a high school coach. And, the one thing bouncing around, I think it's hard to get involved in the community and the community aspect of it. And those are some things that I always really loved and enjoyed, from what the football program means to the school and means to the city and the people that are in it. So got the chance to come back home to Mississippi and actually got an assistant job at my old high school. And, that started it. And I'll be honest with you, since then, I just felt like that's where I belong. That's where I was supposed to be. And, to have that opportunity to give back what's been given to you, over the years, the knowledge and to help young men and young people become what they can be, and to give them an opportunity to get an education and get a chance to further their career is something that, that I take great pride in every year.
And then at the high school ranks, you've had a lot of success over the years. I know some state championships to your resume that you've been a part of. What are some of the high points?
Well, just seeing the impact that it has on your players, that it has on your school, just the positive impact, I think, is the biggest thing. Obviously, the relationships that come and go. Guys, anytime I see an old coach of mine, it's a rewarding deal. And same way to see guys and ask them what they're doing, how's life now, and just seeing them, and hopefully that you've had a chance to be a positive role model for them. And I always, as a player and coach, it's kind of like a parent and a child. There's some moments where you probably don't like each other a whole lot. It's just that's part of the business. But at the end of the day, whenever they realize that you had their best interest and that you always were fair with them, and when they come back and say, Coach, I sure do appreciate what you did for me. I may not have as much at the time, but when you grow up and you realize how many parallels there are in football to life, those are, I tell our coaches all the time, we're teaching life lessons just as much as we are football lessons. And, just because a guy may not be your starting quarterback, don't think that you're not impacting him and affecting him. And hopefully all of ours go on to be successful people, have great families, great careers, positive role models in their communities. So, there's so many things that a coach, so many hats that you wear that are so much more than coaching. And, I feel like I've had some great ones to learn from, great ones to play for, to coach for. And, anything I do, I've learned it from somebody else, but I just feel really fortunate to have had the career path that I've had.
Great career at North Alabama, an outstanding coaching career as well. Tyler Peterson, thanks for sharing your story with us.
Hey, Benjamin, thank you so much.